Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy containment. Happy being at home. Happy working from home. Great to see you all here. I see a bunch of people chiming in. I'm just getting my last window up here so I can see any of the chat. I see Victoria, Susan, Valder, Marco, Charlene, Cindy, Nick, John and Barbara Austin. Welcome everyone to my Friday Masterclass. If this is your first time watching, thanks for being here. My name is Terry White, Worldwide Design and Photography Evangelist for Adobe. And it's my pleasure to be streaming to you live here. Let me just fix one little thing I just noticed real quick. And then we'll be on our way. All right. Can't have that little thing going on there that I'm seeing going on there. All right, let's see if we can tone that down a bit. All right, I think that's better. So great to see you guys here. Thanks for joining me once again for the master classes on Friday. It's a full packed day. We are doing master classes all day long. We're doing teaching all day long. So Friday is masterclass day, meaning that I kick things off in the morning. Then we have a Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. And then we have master classes from Paul Traney doing design, Jason Levine doing audio and video. We have Howard Pinsky doing what does Howard do? Yeah, UX UI design, and we have Kyle Webster also doing drawing towards the end of the day. So it's a full day of learning master classes all day long. So with that said, again, thanks for hopping in. Thanks for being here. And we're going to continue the process that we've been doing for the past eight or nine episodes or so. And we started off way back when, 8-9 weeks ago, doing just kind of getting started for Lightroom. And then we organized, and then we brought images in, and then we learned how to edit those images. And then we did a live shoot. And then last week we talked about uploading those images to stock. And we've just been kind of progressing along the photographic journey. So today we're going to progress along with sharing your photography, sharing your content in more creative ways than just posting pictures. We can all post a picture and put a description under it, but there are better ways to tell your photography story than just posting a single picture or a group of pictures. So with that said, we're going to just dive right into it. I'm going to be showing some stuff on my computer, hopefully on my iPad, and if my phone cooperates, maybe even the phone. My phone was doing an update, and I doubt if it's going to be done in time, so we won't do the phone, but we'll do the web browser instead. All right, so with that said, let me pop over to my desktop so you guys can see what we're doing. I've got Lightroom Classic open again. Just this is the same collection we've been working on for the last 3 weeks or so. We're not going to really do a lot in this collection. I just want to kind of show you where some of this is going to come from. So you might remember in Lightroom Classic, if you wanted to sync a collection with Lightroom in the cloud, you would come up here to the upper left corner, whatever this says, either it's your custom identity plate, which we're going to do a session on those, on how to create those as well, or it says Lightroom, or whatever it says up here, then you're going to click. And then there's a sync button, which you're going to go ahead and click and turn it on. Mine is already on. That's why it says pause. Well, that's why it's giving me the pause symbol. Then next to each collection, you will get the ability to click the sync box for each one that you want to sync. So we've been working in this Krista Photography Master Class collection, which I have synced to the cloud. So that means that because I checked that box and I synced this collection to the cloud, that it is now in the other version of Lightroom. So it's in Lightroom Desktop, it's in Lightroom on my phone, it's in Lightroom on my iPad, it's in Lightroom in the web browser, it's in Lightroom on my other computer, it's in Lightroom in the cloud, everywhere. So I can work on these images, I could do whatever I need to do with these images across the board. As long as I'm working in Lightroom. Now, the advantage and the whole reason I'm telling you and reminding you of this is because now we're going to take it to the next level where we go in and talk about, where we go in and talk about, just making another tweak here. All right, where we go in and talk about sharing, not necessarily these photos, but sharing your photos and telling your story. So, and I teased it in the title for those of you who already know the name of the software. So Robert's asking, I need to know what software you are using for these. Robert, head over to terrywhite.com, scroll down to my studio, you'll find out all your answers. All right, terrywhite.com, whole post on the studio and what I use. All right, anyway, so the reason we are talking about syncing and doing all this, and I teased it in the title, was that you can access these images if you've synced them in Spark. So I said add a little Spark to your photography. So we're going to be talking about Spark today. We're going to at least get 2 of the products out of the way, maybe 3. But if we get time, we'll do the 3rd. We'll at least mention it and tell you what it's about. But 2 of those products we're definitely going to cover today, and that's Spark Post and Spark Page. Now, if you're not a Lightroom user, for whatever reason, use Bridge, you don't use either one, you just use Photoshop, you're just a photographer, you never have ever touched Lightroom in your life, you don't have to use Lightroom to use Spark. I'm just letting people know that do use Lightroom that there is a connection. But if you don't ever use Lightroom, you never use Lightroom, you can still do everything I'm going to show today, with the exception of bringing the images in from Lightroom. So you can just upload images. You don't have to have them in Lightroom to use Spark. All right, so with that said, let's head over to I'm going to show the web page first, and then we'll get to the mobile devices. So I'm going to go to my browser, and the URL that I'm going to, and here I'll put it in the chat for those that are looking at the Behance chat. It is spark.adobe.com. All right, so that's the URL you want to head over to. Now, when you get to that URL, you're going to sign in with your Adobe ID, the same Adobe ID you've been using for Lightroom and Photoshop and whatever other Adobe tools you're using. And Carl's asking, is Spark only for the iPad? Absolutely not. It wasn't on the iPad first. It was on phones first. So it was on the iPhone first, then the iPad, then Android phones. So, and it's in the web browser. So even if you don't own a mobile device, I would find that hard to believe, but even if you don't own a mobile device, as long as you can get to a web browser and a computer, you can still use Spark. It's just more convenient on your mobile phone, especially if you're doing mobile photography, and especially if you've synced to Lightroom, because you've got Lightroom on your phone. So that way you can share the content right from your phone, right into Spark that way. But no, you do not. It is not iPad only, and no, you do not have to have it on an iPad. You can use it on iOS or Android, and you can use it in a web browser as well. All right, so once you head over to the web browser, you'll log in, and I'm already logged in. I can see my little avatar there, and I can just scroll through and see what Spark's all about. But if I'm ready to get started, then I would just click the little home icon in the upper left corner, or click Get Started Now. And that'll take me over to this section where I can actually start to tell my story with Spark. Now, there are 3 components to Spark. There's Spark Post, as the name implies, for creating social media posts. There's Spark Page, which is the one I also talked about in the description, for creating those one-page stories about whatever it is, behind the scenes, photo shoot you did, a client job you did, whatever it is. And then there's Spark Video. We probably won't get to Spark Video today in the time we have. If we do, we will, but if we don't, I just want to mention there is a 3rd component. And Spark Video is not so much a video editor as it is a video storyteller. So it's a way to incorporate stills, text, and video in a presentation format. So you wanted to create maybe slides, and you want to tell your story where people watch it as a video, even though you're editing it as a slideshow, with images, with text, with video. So that's what Spark Video is all about. But we're going to start with Spark Post, then we're going to do Spark Page, and then if time permits, we'll just briefly get into Spark Video. All right, so Spark Post, what's that all about? It's about creating posts for social media. It's about creating, and not even necessarily social media. You could create a print piece with it, but it's mainly for social media. it can be used for anything. You can export a PDF and send the PDF out as your email mailer. You can do whatever you want with it, but social media is what it was originally designed for. So Spark Post, think of it this way. I have something to say. I usually have a photo to go with it, maybe one, maybe two, maybe multiple photos to go with it. And I want to make sure it's in the right size, right format for whatever social media platform I'm going out to. So that could be Instagram, that could be Facebook, that could be Twitter, that could be LinkedIn, that could be Pinterest. It could be whatever social media platform you want to share it to. So I'm going to do one quickly in the web browser, and then we'll do one on the devices. So you see how it works on like a mobile device. And then we'll jump into Spark Page. So right now it's asking me, it's just kind of giving me some quick things to start with. Hey, do you want to tell an Instagram story, or do you want to do an Instagram post? Do you want to do a Facebook cover, a photo collage, presentation, whatever? And these are all the various things. So this is Spark Post. This is Spark, I don't know, it looks like Spark Video. That's Spark Video. This is Spark Page probably. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, let's say that I want to do an Instagram story. So I'm going to click on Instagram story. And then it starts me off with that blank page. And it's even giving me some templates to start with if I want to search for a template. So as a photographer, I would probably be looking for a photography-based template. Give me something that would appeal to my senses as a photographer. And this is the part where I meant in the description, I don't have to be a designer to figure out what colors look good together, what fonts look good together, what style of borders and colors look good together. These templates allow me to get started and then customize it any way that I want. So for example, these, and notice how they're all tall. They're all Instagram story formatted. So they're all like tall, like an Instagram story would be. So let's say, and again, I could stand here all, I think I went back by mistake. Anyway, I did. Sorry. That was my hand on the mouse scroll wheel thingy. Let's go back here. Let's do this again. All right. So, and we're going to do photography again. That was user error. There we go. All right. So now let's say that I like this person just with a camera here. I want to start with this one. So I can create from template. Yep. Create from template. Grabbing the template, loading it in my browser. All right, now it's in my browser, and of course I don't do weddings, so I'm a portrait photographer and travel photographer, so that would need to change. My name is not Jennifer, that would need to change. That's not my URL, and that's not me. So all of this is basically laid out the way I need it to be, but all of it needs to change because this is just a template. None of this applies to me. So if I want to go up here and double click, right now it says portrait and wedding photographer. Well, I would change the wedding to travel because that's me. And my URL would not be this URL. It would be www.terrywhite.photography. That's my website. So now I would change that, and then I could see that, well, some of it shifted around, so I'm going to move it back up. And now I need to change this because this is not me, this is her. So I'm going to change this to Terry White's photography. I'm not going to put in the apostrophe. I don't think I need that. All right, Terry White photography. And again, sometimes things will move around, but you can quickly put them back in place. Okay, so now that I've got the text saying what it needs to say, and wait, hang on here. These got shifted over too. Now that I got the text saying what it needs to say, I need to change the photo. Now I can change the photo to anything that I want. There's a trash icon to just delete the photo. There is a duplicate icon if I want to duplicate the photo. But if I go to the photo itself, let me see here. There's a filter on it. I was like, why isn't there a replace? There was a screen over it. So now let me get to the photo. And now let me replace the photo. So if I click replace, it brings up stock photos. And if you were designing this for anything else and you weren't your own photographer with your own images, you'd welcome this. You'd say, oh, great, give me some pictures to use. And these are all royalty free. These aren't Adobe stock, meaning you have to pay for them. Anything you use in Spark, any images that pop up, you can use we've already granted you the right to use them for your social posts. But since we're photographers, we don't need these. We have our own. So I'm going to click back out of the find free photos, and this is where I get to use my own. So first, find free photos. We already did that. We don't want that. Adobe Stock. We don't want to buy any photos. We already have our own. Creative Cloud. Well, if I've got photos in my Creative Cloud, I can grab them from there. Lightroom. That's what we talked about. If you've synced photos, you can do it there. And connect to Dropbox. I can go get my Dropbox photos, my Google Drive photos, or my Google photos. Or I can just upload a photo. If I've got a photo of that I want to use here that's just on my drive and it's not in Lightroom, I can just go grab that photo right off my drive. I got a folder here called Pics of Terry White. And somewhere in here is one of me with a camera. Here, let's do this by date modified. It's probably near the top. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. I wasn't planning on using one of these photos. That's why I don't know where it is, but I'm sure there's one in here of me with a camera. I seem to remember taking one, having one taken. I just want to see it. I want to use the right one. Bear with me for a second. All right, let's do it this way. Let's just type in camera. Or let's put in Terry White camera. Camera, kind, image. Dun, 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 dun. See what this one looks like. Nope, that's not me. It's probably better off just scrolling. Okay, you know what? We won't find the one with the camera. I don't want to waste any more time looking for it. But, and this is just me showing that you could upload your own photo if you needed to. So let's see what this one is. Yeah, we'll use that one. Use my standard just photo without the camera. All right, so now that one came in. We want to bring it over, and now that image is really, really big. So we might need to make some adjustments. So one of the adjustments I might want to do is I might want to reorder things. So this is getting a little bit more complicated than I planned on right off the bat with this, but let's go ahead and let's see if we can, I want to readjust this. This is also much easier to do on the phone. Yeah, I want to switch these around. Let's go to this. Let's go to, yeah, it's not going to let me make that any smaller. I don't want to make it bigger. I do want to not have that up there though. All right, we'll do it this way. I was hoping to avoid doing it this way, but we'll do it this way. All right, and pull it down. All right, and then we'll just take these items, move them down as well. Thankfully, we have smart guides. Trust me, folks, it is much easier than what I'm doing right now, but this template kind of threw me for a loop the way it was designed. All right, so now, there we go. And now I've got Mia on top, and again, just showing that I can customize these and move them around. Now, this filter thingy, that's just a box over the top of the image to kind of darken it a bit. If I don't need that, I can just trash it. I don't have to use it. And if I want to keep tweaking or working with these, I can move that down some more off the chin. And there we are. So now I've got my Instagram story ready to go. I would have used a different picture, but nonetheless, I've got portrait and travel photographer, Terry White photography, URL, design ready to go. And if I were ready to use this now, I could just simply download a copy of it as a PNG or a JPEG or even a PDF. So let's say I want to download a JPEG of that, start the download, and it will put it in my downloads folder. And it's, since I didn't name the project, it's just going to call it my post number 2 because there's already a my post number 1 probably in my downloads folder. So that's just a quick way to use Spark on the web. However, if you were using Spark on mobile, you could probably do a lot of what we did quicker. because the way Spark works on mobile, since I'm limited to what I can do in a browser, it's better designed as an app. And so just keep in mind, yes, you can use Spark. Yes, you can use it on iOS or Android. Yes, if you don't have iOS or Android, you can use it in a web browser. But more importantly, wherever you use it, it's also synced to your other devices. So if I head over to my iPad, head over to my phone, this project that I just worked on will be there as well. So I see some folks joining in. I see Drew, I see Cassandra, I see Kimberly, I see RC Concepcion. Kimberly, welcome, welcome, welcome. Susan and Bernadette, welcome as well. So let's head over to the device here. I've got an iPad kind of floating here ready to go. I'm going to switch over to the iPad. And so here's my iPad. Here's my Adobe apps. And you can see the three apps there, kind of second column, starting with the second row, Spark Post, Spark Page, and Spark Video. Those are all free to download, by the way. I should mention that. And not only are they free to download, they don't even require a subscription to use. Now, there is a paid part of it, meaning if you are a Creative Cloud member, you get to do your own custom branding. But even if you're not a Creative Cloud member, you can start using Spark. So anyone watching this, whether you're a photographer or not, can start using Spark for free today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just tap on Spark Post. And because I'm on the iPad, I get a nice, iPad experience. It starts me off showing me some templates. So if I were to, let me bring my iPad over just a little bit more so I can reach the keyboard. If I were to go to the search, and I think I already typed in photography, I'm seeing the same templates that I saw before, plus a few more, a lot more. I'm seeing a lot more templates than I saw on the web page, because although these templates are probably there, it does not load them all to overwhelm you right off the top of your head. But as you can see, there are literally hundreds of templates to choose from, and I'm just in one category called photography. So you can find the one you want. And again, I saw her earlier, Jennifer, wherever you were. I saw Jennifer a minute ago. There she is. So there's Jennifer, that template we use with the woman holding the camera, the DSLR. We can grab that one again if we want it. Now, on the left-hand side on the bottom, it says templates. Then there's a plus sign in the middle to start from scratch. And then over on the right-hand side, it says My Posts. So if I tap on My Posts, look what's there. There it is. That one that we just did in the browser is here. And I can edit it. I can duplicate it and create a new one. I can keep working directly with this file I've already created and make any changes to it that I want. So that's another way to use Spark, is that no matter where you start the project, you can keep working on it no matter where you are. All right, so that's the one we already did. We're not gonna do that one again. Those are some other ones I've done. But let's go ahead and create another one from scratch. So let's go to back to photography, and let's go in and grab, let's say we're doing one for the Masterclass, because now I'm gonna get into a lot more features of Spark in and of itself. So let's say we want to remix this one. And by the way, that's what you're simply saying when you want to use a template, you're remixing it. In other words, you're going to change everything about it to be your own. So I'm going to remix this template, and we're going to talk about this one for our photography masterclass for today. So now the template's loaded in on the iPad in Spark Post. It's ready for me to use. I can tap on anything that I want to change. So first thing that's drawing my attention is changing the photo. So I can replace the photo with a button on the bottom left, and I get the same kinds of choices. I can go grab something from Adobe Stock, Adobe Lightroom, Creative Cloud, from my Files app, from the photo library on my device. I can shoot a picture with the camera right now and bring it right in. So I can do any of the things that we saw in the web browser plus a few more. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Lightroom because we talked about that. And here are some of the images that we used in the class before. So if I were talking about this masterclass and we were using one of those portraits that we used before, I can just go ahead and bring that right in from Lightroom. So that's what I meant by syncing your collections in Lightroom Classic, or just using the other, Lightroom Cloud. All of your albums in Lightroom Cloud are available. Any collections you've synced in Classic are available, and you're ready to go. All right, so now I don't want to say photography workshop because that's not what we're doing today. We're doing a photography masterclass. All right, done. Now that puts it in, and let's say, and let's just go ahead and finish the text while we're at it, and then we'll worry about changing it. So this will be, what is today? April 10th, I think. April 10, 2020. Done. And we'll put the URL in because we're not doing a physical location. So we'll say behance.net/live. That's where it will be. All right, so now that we would probably put in a time just to be very anal about it. Time would be 8 a.m. Pacific time. All right, so now we got all the details in. Now I don't like orange. I don't like the font that Photography Masterclass is in. I don't like the size or orientation of the template. So now it's about getting into changing the pieces of it that you want. So Nick's asking a question as a photographer would ask, does Spark support DNGs? No, very little supports DNGs from the standpoint of raw files, meaning bringing raw files in is typically not a workflow going between non-photography apps. So Lightroom, Photoshop, Camera Raw, Bridge, DNGs all day long. Illustrator, InDesign, Spark, so forth, Premiere Pro, so forth and so on, no, the DNGs. So if you did sync them, it's already converted them. They're already smart previews, they're already JPEGs, they're already everything they need. So I didn't need to convert anything. Those were all shot in RAW, and I just pulled in a RAW file right into Spark because Spark's not bringing in the DNG. It's bringing in either the smart preview or JPEG or whatever got synced to the cloud for Spark to use. So yes, you can use your DNGs via Lightroom in a synced album or collection, but not directly. So I can't, like in the web version where I imported that photo, I couldn't import a DNG that way. All right, so now, like I said, I don't like any of the things I just mentioned. By the way, I'm gonna move this text over a little bit because I made it longer. So let's say that I don't like the font for photography. Well, I can tap on photography, and you'll notice below that I get font, color, shape, effect, size, order, adjust, align, spacing, opacity, and all the way on the very end, my favorite option, style. So before I get to style, let's say you already knew what font you want to use. You can go to font and you can just go pick the fonts. Now, you'll notice that there's sections. There's Spark, the Spark fonts that come with this, and then there's Adobe fonts. Because now Spark supports this, I think this is one of those paid features. If you want to use your own fonts in Spark, you can. Your own Adobe fonts, you can do that. All right, but anyway, even if you didn't want to use your own, you wanted to keep it free, you can go find a font that you like. So if I wanted to change it to that font, then it changes it to that one. I can tap and quickly see what I'm getting. I kind of like that, what I'm getting along the way. Nice script, so forth and so on. But what if I don't know? This is, again, getting back to the, I'm not really a designer. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what look. I'll know it when I see it. That's my favorite way to do this. I'll know it when I see it. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm not going to use one of these choices. It takes it back to the way it was. I'm going to tap on it again. And then I'm going to switch all the way over to the right to my favorite option, which is spin the wheel, spin the style wheel. So when I tap style, it literally brings up a wheel widget. And I can say, let's spin the wheel. Let's give the wheel a spin to see if I see what I like. So if I see it, I just keep turning the wheel and it will keep making changes to it until I see something I want to use. And even if it's not exactly what I want, let's say, for example, let's say I like this. I like the way that looks. It's a little tight. I like the way it looks, but I don't like the blue. Well, keep in mind, anything you pick, you can change. So if that's the only thing you didn't like about it was blue, you could change the color to something else. But at least it gave you the style you were looking for. So I'm just going to keep dialing these in until I get to one that I'm going to stop on just for the sake of stopping. But you could just keep going and it will keep randomizing this. Now it's starting to play with the alignment, starting to play with the size, starting to play with everything about it until, oh, I kind of like that one. It's similar to what we had before, but let's say I like that one. Then I would just stop there. Otherwise, I could keep scrolling. Murray's saying, use Spark on my iPhone, iPad, and on my Mac. Great. So, and again, if I want to keep going, I would keep going. All right, so let's say that that's the one I want to stop on. So I stop on that one, and then away I go. If I want to keep adjusting it, I can. So if I can adjust, I can go to not adjust. Let's go to spacing. So right now, the line spacing is a little too loose for me. So if I want to close that up a bit, I can. So I can kind of tighten that spacing up just with a slider, just like that. And if I wanted to change the color, I've got all the color choices here. And the colors are interesting. And I didn't realize this when I first started using Spark. You notice there's brand, meaning those are my branded colors I've set up as my branding. But then they're suggested. And what suggested is based on is the theme and your photo. So it's automatically selected a bunch of colors that it thinks would look good with this theme and your photo that you're using. So I go to the gray, I can go to the orange, I can go to the darker burgundy. I kind of like that. I can go to the dark green. I don't like green as a color per se, but I'll go with the dark burgundy. And again, you don't have to use any of these. You can start going through all the thousands of basic colors and pick whatever color suits your fancy. So it's just, that's why I said suggested colors. You don't have to use them. Use whatever you want. All right, so now I kind of got it saying what I want. I kind of got it looking the way I want, but let's talk about the size. Are there any international standard guidelines based on the size of the image? No. There's no. there's size guidelines based on the template, but not based on the image. So let's say that I want to talk about resizing. Let's do that right now. So if I want to do resize, this is what I meant by I love not having to think about it. It's giving me not only all the standard print sizes, so this is already a 5x7 because we picked a photography template. So I could print this as a 5x7 and be ready to go, but I'm not designing this for a printed card. I'm designing this for social media. So if I scroll back to the social media post, I get everything. I get Instagram story, Instagram portrait, Instagram landscape, Instagram, the old-fashioned Instagram square. I get various Facebook sizes, Pinterest sizes, YouTube thumbnail size, LinkedIn post, so forth and so on. I get print sizes. I get social profile sizes. So if you're trying to design a banner for your Twitter profile, for your YouTube profile, for your Facebook profile, you get the right sizes for those banners as well. And then you just get standard sizes that are designed for just standard aspect ratios. So standard like based on a phone. And then what are these ones on the end? Spark Video, widescreen, Spark Video Square, Kindle cover, and a blog post. So lots of different sizes to pick from. And if none of these, for whatever reason, are exactly what you need, there is custom size where you can literally dial in the exact size you want. So the print options generate CMYK color profiles for output? Absolutely not, Marco. You'd have to convert it over in Photoshop, or your printer would do that for you. It's not, like I said, it's not heavy duty for print. It can make a print size, but if you really need to make color separations and all that, your printer's probably going to do that for you from the image you give them or the PDF you give them. All right, next, let's go ahead and let's say that I want to make this, I'm going to really switch, I'm going to throw it a loop. I'm going to say, no, although you kind of made this tall 5x7, I want to make an Instagram landscape. Oh no, Instagram landscape. And that's what happens. It does the right thing to the size, but things got kind of like a little moved around. Now, I could fix it. I move the date over, move the URL over, reposition her in the frame, kind of get her, kind of get it looking better. But there's also some other things I can do. So let's start with, if we just wanted to fix this, I would start doing things like just moving her down and moving this over and moving this over, and resize has pretty much taken care of it. But if I kind of say, well, I don't really like the way she's being cropped off from the top and bottom, I think it would be better if she was on the side of the text and on the side of everything, then that's where I could get into, let me get out of this, let's hit done. Instead of resizing, you have also layout. So right now it's a simple layout that's just wide. But if I want to use a different kind of layout, there are some suggested sizes on the left and all kinds of grids on the right. So 3 up, 4 up, 6 up, 9 up, whatever you would need for the number of things you're going to put in it. So I'm going to do a side by side like that, and look, it kind of takes care of it for me. I'm not happy with, again, the way some of the things landed, but it's kind of giving me what I need. So let's say now that we got all the room, let's get out of resizing there. We have all the room. Well, I want Photography Masterclass to be bigger now because it can be. So do I have to go dial in a point size or all that? Nope, it's got handles. And I'm not holding down the shift key. It's proportionally scaling. That's a joke. I want to make the type bigger for that because now we can. Oh, now we can. And if I squinch it up, it should put it back on one line. There we go. And move that over, move that there. And then we'll put the URL down there. And that's even giving us more room to put more things. So you can customize this any way you want and design it any way you want, add more layout squares and add more images and so forth and so on. So if I wanted to now save this, I could hit the share button and I can share it out. I can even create a shareable template of my design for others to use. I can share it out to Facebook, Instagram, message, but more importantly, I can just save it to my camera roll on my device to be able to use any way I want going forward. But one more thing, you notice that there's brand because I am a paid Creative Cloud member, so I can go ahead and tap on brand, and it's asking me switch brand, and I can tell it which brand to use, and done. So now that I've added a brand, I can add something like a logo. So add a logo, it already knows my logo from my brand, and now my transparent ping logo I can put wherever I want. So that's what you get with branding is now, originally when Spark was created, you could create, well, a little bit after Spark was created, we added the branding option. You could create a single brand of your logo, your colors, your fonts. And now within the last few months, they added the ability to create multiple brands. So that's why it let me switch brands. I have an Adobe brand, I have a Creative Cloud brand, I have a Terry White brand. I can put whatever brands in here I want. So if I wanted to, since we're on Adobe Creative Cloud, I could say, let's get out of that, and let's get out of that. And let's go to brand one more time. And let's switch brands. Let's go to my Adobe brand, for example. Oh, the Solar Home brand was one I made up last time I was teaching this. And now it's switched it to my Adobe logo. So I could go in and add a new logo there if I want. Let's add another logo because I have more than one. I can add like the Creative Cloud logo. So there's the Creative Cloud logo. We put that over here, maybe in the corner there. And I could brand this any way that I choose. So having multiple brands that you can use is also a nice option to be able to pick and choose what you want for each post. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm done with this. Because if we don't stop now, I'll just keep doing more posts and we will never get to Spark page. All right, so let's go back. And that will again be in all my previous posts. And again, if I wanted to start one from scratch, I could. If I wanted to use the templates, I could. And there are all kinds of templates for anything that you would ever want to do, just about. So next up, let's say that I wanted to tell my story beyond just a single image or a single set of images. So 2 weeks ago, let me get out of Spark post. 2 weeks ago, we did a live shoot, or actually it was, I don't know, I lost track of time. 2-3 weeks ago now, we did a live shoot, and I wanted to share the results of the shoot via a more interesting way, more than just the ability to say, here are the pictures from the shoot, here are all the settings I used, here are the cameras I used, here's the gear I used. If you start thinking about all the information you want to share, how would you put all that together in an easily digestible way? And I thought, hey, why don't I create a Spark page for that last shoot? And that way I can just share it that way. So let me go to, I know you're not seeing it right now, but I'm going to go to my projects here real quick. I'm just going to scroll down and find it if I can. There it is. I don't know why I'm losing that connection all of a sudden. Hopefully that will stay plugged in. Anyway, let's go ahead and share this. And there we go, copy the link. And I'm going to post that link in the chat here. All right, there it is. Okay, so if you are saying, well, Terry, you didn't post it for us. I am posting that link in the Behance chat, but hey, it's just a matter of copy paste. I'll post it there as well, and I'll post it here as well. All right, so I just posted a link to the Spark page that I created, so you guys can kind of follow along and see what a Spark page is. All right, now I'm back to the iPad. I went to Spark page as an app, and in the app, you can see inspiration. As a matter of fact, I'm very proud that one of my original Spark pages is there as inspiration. You see the San Miguel, you see the fly away postcards. Well, if you go down to the next row and you go over to Iceland, that's my Spark page from my 2016 trip to Iceland. So I'm very proud that that's still there as a inspirational piece for you to use. But you can look at that on your own time. Yeah, we're running out of time, so we're not going to look at it now. I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign. Or actually, you know what? Let me go to my pages. I can walk you through quickly the one that I just shared. So if I, by the way, I'm seeing the stats for these, so I can see that that one that I just shared has 500 and some odd views, and this is what it looks like in the editing environment. So I can go in, maybe. My iPad is not cooperating. All right, we might be doing this in the browser. Hold on. All right, let's quit Spark page for a second. Okay, go back. There we go. Okay, so I can scroll through this and you can see what I did. So I started with an image, with a title, with a subtitle, which is just my name, put in a paragraph, put in a YouTube video, put in some more descriptions, put in a bigger image of our first result, and I just went through the entire shoot, starting with the bad lighting, making the lighting better, until we got to a good shot. Then switching up different lights, different strobes, and then I get to the end where I talk about the gear. So that was just a quick behind the scenes type of Spark page that you can create. So let's create one from scratch. I'm going to go back to my pages. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and this is how all Spark pages begin. It starts off with, what do you want to say? So I can say, I've done this one before, my world travels. All right, let's do, helps when you spell it right. So Spark team, if you're looking, I'd love to have a spell checker in there besides the one that's in the OS. And I can put in whatever I want by Terry White. All right, so now it's asking, and Spark page is a scrollable editor, so you just keep scrolling and adding more content till you're done. But if I want a background image, that's what that plus sign is for at the very bottom. So I tap the plus sign. It only wants a photo, so I can tap photo, and then I get the same things. Where do you want to get that photo from? You're not a Lightroom user? Grab it from your device. Grab it from your Dropbox. Grab it from Google Photos. Grab it from your Google Drive. Grab it from your Creative Cloud. Grab it from a stock image, whatever you want. But if you are a Lightroom user, you can say Lightroom. And then it will give you your Lightroom collections. So I'm going to say a World Traveler. Let's use that one. And so it's giving me all the shots in this World Traveler album that I created. So I'm based in Atlanta. I don't think I've used this one before. Let's use the Atlanta backdrop. So now it's rendering that photo. It will get sharper as it brings in the full detail of it. So don't be alarmed when you see things and they kind of look fuzzy at first. All right, so there, it's brought into detail now. And now it says scroll to start writing your story at the very bottom. So let's scroll up. And now it's asking me, what do you want next? Mr. White, what do you want? It's being very formal. Do you want another photo? Do you want some text? Do you want a button for people to tap on? Do you want to put a video in? Do you want to put a photo grid in of multiple photos? Do you want a slideshow that people can tap on and look at all the photos? Or do you want a split layout, like a photo next to some text, so forth and so on? You're just going to rinse and repeat. You're going to pick something, add it, add the next thing. Whatever, though, you're going to get the same categories every time. So if I say add text, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time typing, I love to travel. And I remember the days when we could travel. All right. Again, copy, paste, write it in another tool, do whatever you want, write it here. Depends on where you want to write it. So now you notice that there's a plus sign above it and a plus sign below. Why the plus sign above it? You already put in the next thing, because it doesn't ever assume that you can't make a mistake. So let's say I put text in and I say, oh man, I really meant to put a photo in before that. Do I have to delete the text? No, that's why it's always going to give you a plus sign above and below whatever it is you just did. So if I did want to put the text in, so I can now hit next. I want to put a photo in. So I'm right back to the same album, and let's put in a photo from, we're just going to scroll, and let's put in a photo from Amsterdam. All right, so there's my Amsterdam photo, and now the photo selected, so it's giving me photo options. It's saying, do I want to fill the screen with the photo? Do I want to keep the photo in line? Do I want to make the photo a scrollable window, which is kind of a cool effect? Don't overdo it, though. Don't use it for everything. Do I want to make it full width? Do it's just the width of the page? Or do I want to replace it or delete it? So let's say I want to make it that cool window. Now it's that cool window that a person would scroll over it. And it also gives you a caption option to put the caption right on top of the photo. So if I type in caption, a beautiful night in Amsterdam. I don't usually put the captions on top of the photos for one reason, because I can't control what you're going to look at this on. On a nice big tablet or computer monitor, it looks awesome. But on a phone, that title starts to really cover up the photo and take away from the photo. So I tend not to put the captions on top. I tend to put them below. If you look at that Spark that I gave you the link for, there are no captions on top of the photos, because if you're looking at it on a phone, it just takes away from it. All right, so next, what do I want to put in? Let's say I want to put in some more text. Amsterdam is always fun. And you put in paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of text. Once you put your text in, you also notice at the very top, you can format that text. So if you wanted to center it, you wanted to make it bigger, you can use a headline 1, headline 2. You can always make it bigger. And then you can say, I hope to go back soon. All right. So you get the idea. Just keep putting in your next piece of content. And you're always going to get a plus sign above it, a plus sign below it, in case you forgot something. So if I go next, what I want to put in next, let's put in a grid. So now it's asking me, pick all the photos you want in this grid. So let's say that I want to focus on Paris. So I'm going to do that one, that one, that one. I think those are all my Paris shots. So yeah, I'll just do those 3, and I'm going to say I can do sort. I can put them in the order I want them in. But I think I'm going to be done. All right, should be building that now. There we are. And so it gave me those 3 photos in the order I want. I can edit the grid at any time. If I want to move something around and put something in a different order, I can. And or if I want to add more photos to it, I can. And then it's giving me the ability to have a caption underneath it, because single photos can have the caption on top, groups of photos can have the caption below, and in most cases you can put the caption below anytime you want as well. Jason Levine's in the house. Jason's going to be up next, not next, but soon, later today, doing audio and video, as Jason always does, and Jason's amazing at doing audio and video, among other things. All right, so let's let's continue on. So let's say that I want to put a video in. Now for the video, I'm on my computer right now. I'm grabbing the URL here in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my channel. And I'm going to go ahead and find, I'll just use the last video I just created. All right, we'll use this one. Hello, YouTube. All right. Welcome, everybody. They're not going to say hello, YouTube. Goodbye, YouTube. All right, so now that I copied that, we're going to put in a video. And it's just asking me for the URL for the video. Add a link from YouTube, Vimeo, or Spark Video. So I'll go ahead and paste that in. There it is, done. And it brings in that video. So that becomes part of it. How do you add audio? You don't add audio per se. You can add video that has no video and is just audio. That's the only way that I could think of doing it. If you want to add audio, though, another way to do it is Spark Video. Narrate or add audio any way you want and bring the Spark Video in. And by the way, that's exactly, if you're thinking about telling your story, literally telling it, that's what Spark Video is for. So this is more of a scrollable page for people to look at, people to watch your videos, people to watch your images, people to read the text. But if you really want to narrate a whole story, that's exactly what Spark Video is all about. All right, so now let's put in one more thing, and then we're like only 4 minutes left. Let's put in one more thing. Let's put in a button, a call to action. We'll put in some text first. Check out more of my photography here. All right, and then we'll center that, and we'll add the button, and we'll say that we want to add a button, and the button is TWP for Terry White Photography, and https://terrywhite.photography, and we'll center that button as well. Done. All right. So now they'll be able to tap the button, and actually it will go to the URL. So when I'm done, if I were done, and I am going to be done for now, I can also choose themes. So we just left it on whatever default theme it had, but you can pick themes from your brand. You can pick themes from Spark Page. There's a bunch of themes that have been here since the beginning, plus the ones that you create with your own custom branding. All right, so now that this is ready to go, if I were to share it, I can put it in a category such as photography. I can say that it's not hidden, show me. I can put in the end credits I want. I can say add it to the Spark thing, if maybe Spark will feature it. I'm going to say no on this because it's really not complete. And then I'm going to create the unlisted link in this case. So now Spark is generating a URL for me. And that's a custom URL that's only for my page. I'm going to hit, it's already been copied to my clipboard. I'm going to hit done. And now I'm going to go ahead and hopefully paste that in for you guys to go check out so you can see what we've just built live. And there it is. All right, so hopefully that's the right one. And you guys can go see the page, the temporary, quick, down and dirty page I just built based on the few minutes that I had with Spark Post. All right, so in my 1 minute left, let me get out of Spark page, Spark Video. So Spark Video is also very template driven. It's has nothing to do with actually creating a video per se. It's not like you're gonna bring in video and start editing and making cuts and doing all the stuff you would do in Premiere Rush and Premiere Pro. You're basically gonna start with a start with your photos or start with a story template. I'm gonna say use a template, and it's giving me templates to suggest, promote an idea, tell what happened, that's usually the one I use, a hero's journey, telling a story again, show and tell, maybe a behind the scenes look, and personal growth, so forth and so on. Can I link it to my website? You can put a link to it in your website in the Spark page, and you can embed it on your website. because there's embed code for it as well. All right, so let's say that I want to do a hero's journey, pick this one, and now it's asking me same kinds of thing. Do you want a photo? Do you want a video? Do you want to, there's a microphone there, I can narrate this card. And so you're building your video a card at a time. What's on the card? Video, image, text, or any combination of the three, or any one of the three. And you can narrate the card. Go, and then you hit next card. And you narrate the next one. And then when it's all played back together, it's one video. So you would export it out from Spark Video as a video. And that's Spark. That's adding a little spark to your photography. Don't just post the pictures. We love pictures, but give us the details. Give us that jazzy behind the scenes look. Give us that. And so when you're on your next photo shoot, be sure to take some pictures of what it looked like when you were actually out there shooting or in the studio shooting, whatever it was, and tell the story. Tell us how you came to shoot this particular beautiful shot that you took. All right, so with that said, I am out of time. They're going to cut me off if I don't end it anyway. So with that said, we're going to pass it over to the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. I hope you have fun with Spark. I can't wait to see what you post. Tag me. Bye, everybody.